Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Jesse, two things. What are the personal goals, first off, you hope to get out of making your debut this weekend?
Yeah, I'm not a big goal person, really. I try to focus more. Like when I was younger, running like ARCA and stuff, I think I prioritized like winning a lot, like always the end result in a sense, and I've kind of gotten away from that over the last probably 2 to 3 years now, and kind of just focus more on like the execution part of it and the job that I do. So I always feel confident that if I, do my very best job, I will lead the racetrack with a good result, with a chance to win. And that could be completely different this weekend. If I do a phenomenal job, realistically, I'm probably not going to have a chance to win the cup race, right? So for me, right, my goals, if I was only focused on winning, I feel like I'd be doing myself a wrongdoing, blanking on the word there, but I think that I'm just focused on leaving the racetrack, having run all the laps, and feeling like I did a good job. And I think if I do that, then I can have a result that will really satisfy me and the team.
And then secondly, why Bristol? Why a place like Bristol to make your debut?
Yeah, it's one of my better racetracks. For me, kind of more at my wheelhouse. I don't really enjoy the flat track stuff a whole lot. I really enjoy the tracks, a lot of banking, a lot of grip, moving around, getting around the wall, getting around the top, the bottom, the middle, kind of wherever there's grip, clean racetrack. So I like to search around. I can do that here. I'm comfortable with the racetrack and have enough laps here. Took enough detailed notes over the years that when I come here, right, I'm having to learn a whole new race car. Didn't do any testing, right? So I can eliminate one of the factors of learning, which is learning the racetrack, right? Still picking up, things here or there throughout the weekend, but because I've been here enough, I can come here for the cup race and not have to learn a racetrack and a car at the same time.
All right, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and Catchfence.com. So what did you do to prepare for this moment?
I ran a lot of laps in the simulator. I think I probably ran about probably 2,000 laps this week on the simulator, whether it be the dill at GM Tech Center or whether it be even iRacing with Scott Speed. So just ran a lot of laps, trying different things. One thing I did this week was, I ran a couple, 1 or 2 500 lap, races by myself on iRacing just to kind of condition myself to the mental drain it's going to take to run 500 laps. Obviously, it'd be the longest race in my life. Never ran a 24-hour race before, right? So this is going to be different for me on a lot of ways. Obviously, the fitness level I actually feel pretty confident about. Go to the care center after the race, get an IV, have a bus for the first time this weekend, so I can not have to travel back and forth to the hotel, can kind of go right to bed. And, I feel like the fitness side of it is going to be fine. Obviously, I had to step up my game kind of leading up to this race a little bit. But more importantly, I feel like getting the mental side of it, squared away. And I think the biggest part of that for me is, again, running 500 laps. The Xfinity races in the beginning, like last year, I remember getting out of the car and being like, there's no way I can run a cup race right now. And honestly, every race this year I've been able to get out and be like, man, I wish this race was a little bit longer. And if I had to go, another double after this, that I could do it. So I'm in a much better fitness space now, and it's going to be a challenge for sure on the mental side of it, how draining that'll be. But I feel like I've put the processes in place to be okay.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What are you curious to experience on Sunday?
What am I curious about? Yeah, it's a good word. I feel like so I kind of got to do this in truck. I ran 3 truck races when I was 18, and it was cool for me because at that time when I was running those truck races, I thought I was going truck racing the following year. So it was a cool thing for me because I was like, okay, I'm going to write down all these notes and try to be detailed about it. Of in the off season or throughout the rest of the year before the next truck race, like write down a bunch of things that I got to get better at, right? Which at the time for me was got to get better at restarts, got to figure out how to your truck faster and not only be going on the tight side. A couple other things too, pit stops. So same thing for the cup race, right? I'm going to go into it and probably leave here with a bunch of notes in my notebook on, okay, I got to get a lot better at X, Y, and Z, and then try to, bridge the gap if there is another one this year or next year if I'm doing it full time or whatever it may be. Try to just bridge those gaps, right? I also think it's going to make me better on the Xfinity side for sure too. So, I was talking to Noah about it on the phone the other day, and he was like, I mean, you're racing against all these guys, right, that can come down to your level and be an Xfinity champion or win Xfinity races, right? So the whole Xfinity field can't win Xfinity races, but primarily the whole Cup field can win Xfinity races. So I'm looking forward to like seeing the depth of the field and how hard you run for 30th. It's super easy for me to run inside the top 10 Xfinity race, right? It's like climbing Mount Everest for me to go run top 10 this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing like the depth of the field, and then obviously I don't know what I don't know as well. So there's a lot of things that I don't know what I'm going to be curious about, but I'll figure that out pretty quickly in the race. Then I can kind of leave here. It probably will be a couple of things like pit road and restarts and then aggression level, right? And those are three things that I'm going to try to figure out when I leave the racetrack, how to bridge that gap. So, and obviously there's been a little bit of like due diligence on my end too of kind of trying to be self-aware on what my, shortfalls are right now, so that when I get in a cup race, I can kind of hopefully step up to that level, hopefully before I have to, leave the racetrack. So, there's a lot of things I'm curious about and a lot of things that I know that I'm going to have to figure out, in the moment.
Davey Siegel with Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. You said you did a lot of laps on iRacing, a lot of laps on the sim. How do you think that will compare to when you get in the car today, and how do you think that feel that you either had or you think you're going to have will compare to the feel in your Xfinity car?
I don't know. I think it's important not to, get married to one thing, right? The Cup car on iRacing does not feel like the Cup car in the actual DIL simulator at GM, and I'm sure the DIL sim at GM isn't going to feel 100% like real life, right? But there's still certain small things that you kind of pick up on, right? I mean, physics is physics, and that's kind of how we look at it with Josh Wise and Scott Speed. So typically the fastest guy is the one that messes up the physics the least. So trying to just kind of have an open mind and feel like you try to prepare really hard for this stuff, but you don't want to get married to one thing. So I feel like I've gotten comfortable with that, gotten used to that in a sense. So it's more so like your only job out there is to go out there and put it on the limit, the tire, and then you're trying to exploit that the best that you can, right? So depending on your balance and certain things, you're going to move shapes around, you're going to move how you apply the brake and let off the gas and things around like that too. So honestly, like I've done all this prep, right? But I'm not going into the car for practice and being like, okay, I'm going to drive it just like I drove on the simulator, right? Kind of going out there and you have your first prediction, which is basically where you lift and turn off the wall. And then everything after that is pretty much a reaction to what you're feeling. And then you use all those, 2,000 laps or so this week to help you react in a optimal manner.